Dr. Elara Miles adjusted the collar of her uniform as she entered the colossal chamber of the Galactic Council. The air was filled with the hum of alien dialects, a symphony of the galaxy's diversity. Today was her first appearance as part of Earth's delegation, and the weight of her role pressed down on her shoulders like the gravity of a foreign planet. She approached the central podium, her eyes sweeping over the assembly, hundreds of species from star systems she'd only read about in her briefings. The council was to vote on Earth's petition for membership, and the atmosphere was charged with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Elara leaned towards her microphone, her voice steady. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, I stand before you not only as a representative of Earth but as a testament to humanity's commitment to peace and scientific advancement. Before she could continue, a sudden, shrill alarm echoed through the chamber. Panic ensued as council members looked around, confusion etching their alien features. Elara stood frozen as a holographic display in the center of the room blinked red, signaling an emergency. An alien officer from the security team sprinted towards the podium, his voice amplified. We have detected a biochemical weapon. It's spreading through the vents. Everyone, please remain calm and head to the quarantine zones immediately. Elara felt her heart race, but oddly, she noticed no symptoms as those around her began to cough and collapse. A Vraxian delegate near her slumped to the floor, his breathing labored. Despite the chaos, Elara found herself inexplicably immune, her mind clear as she watched the terrifying scene unfold. Dr. Raj, a Trinalian scientist known for his expertise in biochemistry, staggered towards her, his face contorted in pain. Dr. Miles, you are not affected? He gasped. Elara shook her head, her mind racing for explanations. I need to get to the lab. Maybe I can help. Dr. Raj, can you guide me there? Supporting the ailing scientist, Elara navigated through the convulsing crowd to the station's lab. Inside, she began scanning their blood samples, her hands moving with practiced precision. It's airborne, fast-acting. But why am I not affected? She mused aloud. Dr. Raj, leaning heavily against the lab table, managed a weak shrug. Perhaps something in your human biology? An immunity gene not present in us? Elara's fingers flew over the holographic interface, cross-referencing her DNA with alien genetic structures. Hours passed, her brow furrowed in concentration. Finally, the screen flashed a comparison that made her eyes widen. It's the CCR5 Delta 32 mutation. It's common in humans due to an ancient plague. It seems to block the weapon's pathogen. Realization dawned on Raj's face, mixed with a trace of fear. If the Council believes that humans engineered this attack using a weapon only we are immune to, we need to prove our innocence and stop this fast. Elara interjected, her mind already ticking through solutions. Help me synthesize an antidote based on this mutation. We can use my immune cells as a template. Working side by side, human and alien, they engineered a counteragent. The lab was silent except for the hum of machines and their synchronized breaths. Every second counted as they replicated the antibodies in bulk. Meanwhile, the station's security forces managed to stabilize the assembly hall, but suspicion swirled like a dark cloud. Rumors of human treachery began to infect the minds of the delegates faster than the biochemical agent itself. With a vial of the antidote ready, Elara and Raj rushed back to the council chamber, where an emergency meeting had convened. The chamber was a sea of mistrust, eyes darting and whispers echoing off the walls. Elara stepped forward, the antidote in her hand glinting under the chamber lights. Members of the council, I know fears may point towards Earth as the orchestrator of this attack. But we are victims of suspicion as much as you are of this weapon. She explained the mutation and their breakthrough, each word measured and clear. This antidote is our shared path to survival. Let us use it not just to heal our bodies, but to mend the trust between us. Skeptical eyes met her bold gaze as she administered the antidote to a volunteer from the afflicted. Minutes ticked by, the chamber holding its collective breath until the alien's convulsions ceased, his breathing steadied. A murmur of relief swept through the room, turning into a cautious chorus of approval. Elara's plea for unity resonated more profoundly than any political speech could. As the antidote circulated and health was restored, so too was a semblance of trust. The Council, shaking yet saved, tabled Earth's membership for further review under more favorable light. Elara and Raj's collaboration became a symbol of hope, their shared success a bridge between worlds. As she walked out of the chamber, the weight on her shoulders felt different, less like a burden, more like a mantle of possibility. After the harrowing experience in the Council chamber, Elara and Raj secluded themselves in the lab, determined to unravel the genetic secrets that had saved Elara from the attack. The lab was sparse and functional, the silence between them a stark contrast to the chaos that had ensued outside. Raj's hands trembled slightly as he prepared the equipment, his alien physiology still weak from exposure, but his determination was palpable. Elara, scanning through data streams, broke the silence. "We need to figure out how to replicate my immunity. If we can synthesize a version of the CCR5 Delta 32 mutation for the Council members, we might not only cure them but prove our goodwill." Raj nodded, his voice weak but steady. "It's not just about synthesizing the mutation. We need a delivery system, something that can introduce the modified gene into alien physiology without adverse effects." The pair worked tirelessly. Their initial trials met with frustration as the synthesized gene failed to integrate properly into alien cells. Each failure added to the urgency, the weight of their task mirrored in their exhausted expressions. "Think, Elara, there has to be a way to make this work universally," Raj urged, his eyes scanning the molecular structures displayed on the screen. Elara paused, her gaze drifting to a petri dish where a sample of her own cells thrived. "What if we use a viral vector? A benign virus that could carry the modified gene into alien cells?" Raj perked up, his fatigue momentarily forgotten. "Yes, a retrovirus could work. It's risky, but it might be our best shot." The next hours were a blur of genetic coding, virology, and biotech engineering. Elara handled the human aspects, tweaking the retrovirus to carry the human immune response genes. Raj, with his deep knowledge of alien biochemistry, adapted the virus to be compatible with various alien physiologies. As they loaded the final version of the virus into the synthesizer, a sense of anticipation filled the room. This was more than science. It was a message of peace, a testament to what could be achieved when beings from different worlds work together. "I'll test it first," Elara declared, rolling up her sleeve. Before Raj could protest, she had injected herself with the retroviral solution. "Elara, you didn't have to do that," Raj said, his voice filled with both admiration and concern. "I know," she replied, smiling weakly. "But I need to know it works on me before we even think about administering it to anyone else." The waiting was the hardest part. Hours ticked by with no adverse effects, but also no confirmation that the virus would work on aliens. Finally, they decided to test it on a tissue sample from one of the affected council members, a delicate procedure that required precise manipulation. As the treated cells began to exhibit signs of integration, hope flickered in Raj's eyes. "It's working, Elara. The cells are accepting the gene." With the successful integration confirmed, they prepared doses of the antidote, their actions swift and sure. Elara filled syringes while Raj documented every step, ensuring that their methods could be replicated. Armed with their potential cure, they returned to the council chamber, now transformed into a makeshift medical facility. The air was tense, filled with the muted groans of suffering delegates and the soft beeping of medical equipment. Council Security Chief Cyril, a towering figure even among his kind, approached them warily. "You have something?" Elara nodded, offering him the syringe. "We've developed an antidote based on human immunity. It's been successful in preliminary tests. We need to administer it now if we're to save them." Cyril hesitated, his eyes darting between the syringe and the two scientists. "This had better not be another human trick." "It's no trick," Raj assured him, his tone earnest. "We've worked together, human and Trinalian, to save everyone." With a curt nod, Cyril allowed them to proceed. They started with the delegates who were most severely affected, administering the antidote and monitoring the results. Slowly, the groans subsided, replaced by sighs of relief as the delegates recovered. As each delegate was treated, the skepticism in the room gave way to grudging respect and then to open gratitude. Elara and Raj moved through the room, their earlier exhaustion forgotten in the face of their success. The news of their breakthrough spread quickly through the station, reaching even the most cynical of species. By the time the last delegate was treated, the atmosphere had shifted palpably. What had begun as a nightmare had turned into a powerful demonstration of what could be achieved through unity and cooperation. As the council reconvened, the mood was somber but hopeful. Speaker after speaker rose to thank Elara and Raj, their words echoing through the chamber. The attack that had been meant to sow discord had instead forged a new understanding among the galaxy's many inhabitants. Elara took her place at the podium once more, not as a suspect or a savior, but as a partner in the galaxy's ongoing story. Today, we faced a crisis that threatened to tear us apart, she began, her voice clear and strong. But instead of succumbing to fear and suspicion, we chose to trust and to work together. Let this be the foundation upon which we build a lasting peace. The applause that followed was not just for her, but for the possibility of a future where humans and aliens could stand together against any threat. As the council voted unanimously to grant Earth probationary membership, Elara felt a surge of pride, not just in her own work, but in the promise of what was to come. Elara and Raj spent hours in the lab, poring over the synthesized antidote and preparing for the potential backlash from the council. The weight of their next steps was immense. Failure could mean not just the demise of Earth's aspirations in the council but potentially harmful rifts among galactic relations. Are you sure this will work for all species? Elara asked, her eyes not leaving the microscope. Raj, more familiar with the varied physiologies represented on the council, adjusted the settings on his instrument, adding, "We've adapted the delivery system to be universally accepted, minimizing any immunological rejection. But convincing the council of its safety and effectiveness, that will be the real challenge." With the antidote in hand, they made their way to the council chamber, where a session was being hastily convened. The mood was tense, the previous day's shock still hanging heavy in the air like a dense fog. Delegates whispered among themselves, their eyes occasionally darting towards the human representatives with a mix of suspicion and hope. As they entered, a sudden hush fell over the room. Elara felt every gaze on her, the weight of their stares almost palpable. She clutched the vials tighter in her hand. Speaker Zarkul, an imposing figure with iridescent scales shimmering under the chamber lights, called the session to order. "We convene today under extraordinary circumstances," he began, his voice resonating through the hall. "Dr. Miles and Dr. Raj claim to have developed an antidote to the bioweapon. We must discuss its deployment cautiously." Elara stepped forward, her voice steady despite the churn in her stomach. "Honorable delegates, the antidote we offer is derived from a mutation in human DNA, something that has protected us from the weapon. We've adapted it to be compatible with your diverse biologies." A murmur ran through the crowd. An Atraxian delegate stood, his voice skeptical. "How can we trust this antidote? For all we know, it could be another human ploy." Raj responded, his tone calm and reassuring. "I understand your concerns. That's why we suggest a monitored demonstration. Let's administer the antidote to a volunteer from among the affected delegates. You can observe the effects firsthand." The proposal hung in the air, thick with tension. After a moment that felt like an eternity, an elderly delegate from the affected Nihal species stood up. "I will volunteer. The suffering of my people must end, and if this is a path to trust and healing, so be it." With the chamber's eyes fixed on them, Elara carefully administered the antidote. The silence was deafening as everyone waited for any sign of improvement or adverse reaction. Minutes ticked by slowly until the Nihal delegate took a deep, unlabored breath, his posture straightening as strength visibly returned to his body. Whispers of astonishment circulated the room, turning into a cautious chatter of hope. Zarkul called for order. "This demonstration appears successful. Dr. Miles, Dr. Raj, can this antidote be produced quickly and in sufficient quantities?" Elara nodded, feeling a glimmer of hope. "Yes, we can begin immediate production. With your cooperation, we can distribute it across all affected delegations within hours. The session evolved quickly after that. Logistics were discussed, and with each delegate's approval, a plan was put into action. Manufacturing facilities on the station were repurposed to produce the antidote under the supervision of Alara, Raj, and a team of volunteer scientists from various species. As the production process was set in motion, Alara took a moment to step aside, looking out through the chamber's large windows at the stars beyond. The weight of the last few days seemed to lessen slightly, the starlight soothing her exhausted spirit. Raj joined her, his expression one of quiet satisfaction. You did it, Alara. We did it. It was a joint effort, she replied, her voice soft. Without your help, none of this would have been possible. Their moment of respite was short-lived, however, as a commotion at the chamber entrance caught their attention. Security forces escorted a group of disheveled-looking individuals, members of the rogue faction responsible for the attack. They had been caught attempting to sabotage the antidote production. The chamber erupted into chaos once again, as delegates demanded justice and retribution. Alara and Raj hurried back to the center of the room, ready to face another challenge. Zarko restored order with a powerful call for calm. We must not respond to treachery with haste and anger. Let us show that the principles of justice and unity prevail, even in the face of betrayal. The leaders of the rogue faction were detained, and a trial was scheduled. Amidst these developments, the council took a moment to formally acknowledge Alara and Raj's contributions. The feeling in the room was different now. Respect and gratitude had replaced suspicion and fear. As the council session adjourned, delegates approached Alara and Raj, thanking them, their gestures sincere. The crisis had revealed the possibility of a deeper connection between the species of the galaxy, a testament to what could be achieved when they stood together. Alara looked around at the faces, now not just alien but familiar, and felt a profound shift. What began as a desperate bid to save lives had blossomed into a potential new era for human-alien relations. Alara stood in the now tranquil council chamber, a stark contrast to the bedlam of the past few days. Around her, delegates conversed in hushed, earnest tones, the earlier animosity dissolved by the shared crisis and the unity it inadvertently fostered. Alara's gaze moved across the room, observing the interactions, a soft smile gracing her lips. The change was palpable, and she felt a swell of pride at having played a part in it. Speaker Zarko resumed the session with a clear, strong voice that commanded attention. This assembly must now consider the application of Earth for membership in the Galactic Council. Given recent events, we find ourselves in a unique position to reassess our previous reservations about humanity. Alara felt every eye in the room turn towards her. She took a deep breath, stepping forward. Her voice echoed slightly in the vast chamber. Honorable delegates, the past days have not only tested our biological defenses but our ideological strengths. We, humans, came here as petitioners, but we stood by you as allies when it mattered most. A murmur of assent rippled through the chamber, a sound that would have been unthinkable just a week prior. An Ixtian delegate, a species known for their cautious nature, stood up, adding his voice to the conversation. We have seen humanity's potential for both chaos and compassion. It is the latter which convinces me they are ready to join us. Let us vote not out of fear, but out of hope for what we can achieve together. One by one, other delegates expressed their support. The tide had turned, Alara realized, not just in their favor, but towards a broader horizon of galactic cooperation. As the votes were cast, Alara felt Raj's presence beside her, his earlier skepticism replaced by a supportive camaraderie. The final tally was displayed on the overhead hologram, overwhelmingly in favor of Earth's membership. Applause broke out across the chamber, the sound rich with the promise of new beginnings. Zarko declared, "Let this mark a new chapter in our collective history, one of unity and shared destiny. Earth is hereby granted probationary membership to the Galactic Council, with all associated rights and responsibilities." Alara's heart was full as she absorbed the significance of his words. Earth had not only gained a seat at the council but had earned respect and trust through their actions, a currency she knew was invaluable here. As the session adjourned, Alara and Raj were surrounded by delegates, eager to express their congratulations and discuss future collaborations. The air was buzzing with plans for joint scientific ventures, cultural exchanges, and more, the groundwork being laid for a robust partnership. Amidst the crowd, Zarkul approached, his expression one of respect. "Dr. Miles, your actions have shown great courage and integrity. The Council is fortunate to have such a representative of humanity. We hope you will consider serving as Earth's ambassador to the Council." The offer took Alara by surprise. Her role until now had been strictly scientific. Yet, the opportunity to bridge her passion for science with diplomatic responsibilities was enticing. She knew this was a chance to influence galactic policy and ensure the protection and advancement of human interests among the stars. "I am honored, Speaker Zarkul. I accept, with the hope of fostering not only peace but progress among all our species," Alara responded, her voice steady with resolve. The chamber slowly emptied, leaving Alara and Raj a moment of quiet. "Looks like you're stuck with me for a bit longer, Dr. Raj," she joked lightly, the gravity of her new position still settling in. Raj chuckled. "I can think of no one better suited for this task, Alara. Together, we've already changed the course of history." They walked towards the chamber's large windows, looking out over the station. Below them, the curve of the neutral dwarf star cast a gentle glow over the station's intricate architecture. "It's a new dawn, Raj," Alara mused, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Yes, a dawn of a new era, and I believe we are ready for it," Raj agreed, his voice filled with hope. As they stood side by side, watching the cosmos unfold before them, the challenges ahead seemed less daunting. With unity as their newfound creed, the possibilities were limitless. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries and marvels yet to be discovered, and now humanity would journey through it as equals and allies. Alara turned from the window, her resolve firm. The road ahead would be filled with both trials and triumphs, but she was ready to face it head-on, for Earth and for the galaxy. The Council had given humanity a chance, and she was determined to make the most of it, one step at a time into the unknown.